Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. I'm very, very sorry for this delay. There was a technical glitch once again. Okay. Namaha Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are continuing and today we will be discussing chapter 3. First question is, or not a question actually, it's more of an observation, that those of you who felt after listening to the summary and overview of chapter 2 that everything is very confusing and I don't know how to make sense out of it, then I must tell you that that was precisely the purpose of chapter 2, whose title is Content of Bhagavad Gita Summarized. This chapter onwards, this confusion would not be there, because now Krishna would be elaborating on what he meant, and then he would classify also so that it becomes easy for us to understand. Second observation is that after today's class, all misconceptions pertaining to how people misunderstand Karma Yoga, so that will also get clarified. So let us now begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 3 has 43 verses in it. The first 2 verses is about Arjun's confusion. From verse number 3 to 9, Krishna gives answers to that particular confusion. After that, Krishna explains to Arjun the Yagya Chakra or the cycle of Yajna and the significance and importance of it. And after that, Krishna then elaborates the technique of Nishkama Karma. And towards the end, from verse number 36 to verse number 43, Krishna describes lust. So there is a question, then there is a clear answer, then Yagya Chakra, then Nishkama Karma, and then lust. This is a broad classification of these 43 verses. As I told you earlier, by the end of the session, you would be knowing what is not Karma Yoga and what is Karma Yoga. So let us begin. Arjun asks the question that previously you told me that I am a soul and I am imperishable, and so are these kings and soldiers. So therefore, why should we engage in any warfare? And I would like to retire from this active life, perform penances, and work towards the goal of self-realization. So I would like to leave everything and only pursue the path of self-realization. That's called Sankhya Yoga, which we understood in the previous chapter. Then Arjun says, but at the same time, you are also saying, no, you get up and you fight. So he says, please confirm which one is better and which one I should do. This is the confusion that he presents before his spiritual master. In answer to that, the Lord confirms to him that na karmanam anarambhan nashkarmyam purushoshnute na cha sannyasanadev siddham samadhi gacchati, which means that people who think that I won't initiate a work, then I won't get the reaction of that work, they are mistaken. And people who suddenly give up everything, they also don't get perfection or siddhi. What does this mean? I'm very happy now to share this with you because this is a major misconception as far as spirituality is concerned, or perception of spirituality is concerned. There is a temptation and a popular perception that spirituality means give up what you are currently pursuing. This chapter 3 is a proof that it's a wrong perception. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mama anusmar yudhya. Therefore, all the time, O Arjun, you should remember me, anusmar, yudhya, and also do your duty. So these are dual tasks given to every living entity. When he says anusmar, that doesn't mean you keep saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. That's a great thing to do. But the idea here is to understand the nature of divinity. And if the divinity were to take a form, that form looks like Father of Jesus, Allah of Prophet Muhammad, and Krishna. Because they're exactly one and the same. Dear seekers, there is only one singular reality, and that governs everything else. Nomenclature may differ depending upon the background of the seeker, but the reality does not change. A teacher for a primary student, a teacher for a secondary school or a higher secondary or a college may differ, but teaching remains the same. As in the process of teaching remains the same, content may vary. Because all of you are educated, and therefore it is easy for you to penetrate through this garb or veil and look at things as they really are. Bhagavad Gita does not recommend giving up your work. It does not. It clearly says, Na karmanam annarambhan. If you don't initiate your work and think you won't get the reaction, then you are mistaken. You will get the reaction of non-performing. Arjun thought, I will not fight. Then Krishna said, okay. Then all these opponents will make fun of you and they will insult you. And because you have a warrior nature, a warrior can't tolerate insult. So you will be forced to engage in this warfare. So don't think that by not initiating or by avoiding the work, you won't get the result. You will get a sinful reaction of that, of not performing your duty. Some people sometimes when they get fed up, they say, oh, I can leave the job. I'm not dependent on it. Truth of the matter is none of us can leave our jobs. Because this is what we are currently dependent upon. And I'm not talking about the monetary remuneration. Our jobs, our people, our products, they all are our extensions. They are what when we go and purchase something in the market, we don't purchase something. We just purchase ourselves more. That's all. So when you think of, oh, I can leave this job and nothing would happen. No. You have a nature. Based on that nature, there was a necessity. To fulfill that necessity, you engaged in this job. Till the time that nature doesn't change, you can't change the job. And if you do so, then there is reaction. So you have become habitual of certain standard of lifestyle. The moment job goes, that standard also has to come down. And that's not necessarily monetary standard. That is also about your social circles. You will have a feeling of being left out of the race, misfit, old, fuddy-duddy, and so on and so forth. So there will be reactions. And then you will say, no, 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 somehow I made a mistake. I need to go back there. It may look scattered and chaotic. Truth of the matter is exactly basis our very nature. Krishna has placed us in that position. We have desired. The desire is our very nature, and based on that, we have gotten into jobs. It's as simple as that. Whether you play cricket, whether you become a Mukesh Ambani or a painter or a singer, whatever it is, you can't leave your field. And when I say the word can't, it means on your own volition. We may verbalize, but we are never ready. And when we are genuinely ready, it means we are actually not dependent. Na karmanam anarambhan, nashkarmyam purushoshmate. Don't think by not doing, there will be no reaction. Na cha sannyasana deva. And if you are thinking by giving up everything, siddham samadhi gacchati, I will attain perfection, that will also not happen. In chapter 2, there was a verse 2.61, where Krishna, only verse where Krishna says, Mat paraha, which means one who is absorbed in thinking about me. And here in chapter 3, 3.30, Krishna says, Mai sarvani karmani sannyasan adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigata jvara. Offer all your activities, Mai sarvani karmani. Offer all those activities unto me. So now we are entering into the third phase of it, which is the yajna cycle. Very beautiful. Now kindly close your eyes and imagine there is a staircase, and one who is at the bottom has certain type of nature. What is that nature? This fellow is a daydreamer. He is a procrastinator, and he makes big plans, comes across minor obstacles, and tries to run away from that reality and starts another planning. So he is a doer, but he is a doer in the mode of ignorance, because he does things which are opposite of what should be done. So that's number one at the bottom. Then number two are people who realize that if they want to fulfill one desire, they have to do set of activities to reach there. And these people perform those set of activities. And then three types of results come: desired, undesired, and mixed. Sometimes you work for something, you get that thing, you feel great. Sometimes you work for something, you get half of it or a little less of it, and some disappointment. And sometimes you try for something and exactly opposite happens. So these three types of results come to these people who are at the second level of staircase. And these people are in the mode of passion. Now the magic will begin. Now you would enter into karma yoga. Dear seekers, yoga takes place when there are two things. Because yoga means linking. If you have to connect one with another, then you need yoga. Yoga class is a misnomer. I have mentioned in the previous classes also. Because there is nobody who you are connecting with there. You simply took out a section of Dhyan Yoga for your own productivity enhancement, so that you become better, you become physically fit, but there is nothing superior about it, because you are not connecting. So that's not yoga. Then comes the third staircase. This is a preliminary level of yoga, karma yoga. What happens is, this fellow goes to office, works for a month, gets a paycheck, comes home. But he does not spend, or she does not spend the whole thing upon himself or herself. So what does this person do? This person recognizes that I came into this world because of my parents. He recognizes that. What does he do? Then he does two things. One is he acknowledges. Now you can refer to those self-help literature which is there, where they say be grateful, acknowledge, be thankful, be grateful. What does that mean? It means if something has to happen, there were multiple variables in the equation. Your hard work and your clarity was not the only thing. You got this body because of your parents. You may laugh it away. Oh, they were enjoying. I just happened. No, no, it's not the case. There are such cases, but they are not the only cases. People plan pregnancy, they work towards it because parenting is a dream. People desire, aspire for it, and work towards it. So they brought you into this world. Then your teachers, they inculcated the value system and the necessary knowledge. Oh, they were being paid for it. Think carefully. They did much more than what they were being paid for because they were your well wishers. Then your spouses, they play an important role so that you can comfortably do what you are doing. So the people at the third level of staircase, they are sensitive people. They empathize and they recognize that I am not the only factor. Parents are there, teachers are there, friends are there, spouse is there, family is there, and my mentor is there. There are so many. So what does he do? He not only acknowledges, then he goes a step further. He reciprocates. So how does one reciprocate? Then you give gifts. Then you call them on their birthdays and anniversaries. You pay visit to them. When they are sick, you help them out. In simplest possible terms, this is yajna. Because you acknowledge and you reciprocate that in my success story, I am not the only hero. It's as simple as that. It's completely not correct, but at an elementary, preliminary level, now you are a karma yogi because you are sharing whatever you are bringing to the table, whatever value you bring to the table, you share and you give the due credit where it belongs. Then you move to the next staircase. On that platform, the fellow also includes other entities. So, for example, if you hold an apple in your hand, just hold it for a while and observe it carefully. And what would you see? You would see that this apple did not come overnight. There was a seed, and soil gave protection to that seed, and then humidity played its role. Then water reached it, and then it sprouted, and then sunlight nourished it. Eventually, it became fit for your consumption. So the money that you paid to the supermarket guy, and you are mistakenly thinking you are the one. So the intelligent person who knows that sun, ether, fire, earth, water, everyone has contributed. Then only things have come to me. This fellow is more elevated. So then what does he do? He performs Panchayagnya. He creates a Havan Kund. And then he says, Om Bhaskaraya Namaha, Om Agnaya Namaha. And then he selects fire as the messenger and gives that offering and requests fire to carry that offering to that particular demigod. That's what you call Havan. Havan is an expression of Yajna. Havan is not Yajna in itself. Havan manifests a type of Yajna. So this person is more evolved. Then comes the highest evolved person who says there is a singular reality on whose instruction, there is a supreme reality on whose instruction the sun is shining, the moon is shining, the fire is carrying heat, the water is running into all the parts in our body, outside our body as well. But it's all happening on someone's instruction. And that highest supreme person must be thanked so that I am able to enjoy. That's the highest understanding. And then that fellow says, "Thank you, God." Simple. And the best way to understand this is when you give 100 rupee to your child as a pocket money, and after 1 year, the child comes back on your birthday and tells you that I bought a t-shirt worth 800 rupees for you. Then you ask, how did you do it? And then he says, I saved my pocket money. It was your money. But his acknowledgement, his reciprocation, and his love for you overwhelms you. You always cherish that t-shirt because the child performed yajna. In a layman language, when they say, Tera tujhko arpan, kya lage mera? Yajna. That's the definition of yajna. Thing that is done for the satisfaction of Supreme, not for your own satisfaction. That qualifies as a yajna. The others were also yajna, but they were good. There's like good, better, best. They were at the range of good, then better, then best. And two verses particularly in which you would come to know where does Krishna live. I have a question to all of you. How many of you would like to know where does Krishna live? Raise your hand. So here is the answer. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma yagyam nitye pratishtita. If you want to catch Krishna, he lies in yajna. And nitye, perpetually resides there. Therefore, this Rockefeller Foundation and Microsoft guys, Gates Foundation, and so on and so forth. One is their whole PR thing. That's a separate thing. I'm talking about genuine welfare. Why do they do? Giving away money in charity. Why do people do that? Because in the deep recesses of their heart, there is supreme reality lying, which only reciprocates in the form of joy when a person performs yajna. And that's why they feel happy. Tasmat sarvagatam, all pervading Brahman, yajna nitya pratishthitam, perpetually resides in the activity of yajna. Dear seekers, now you know that we are not the only doer, and other people deserve their due credit. You did not pay sun, I'm talking about sun planet, that okay, the apple that I ate, for your vitamin D, just send your UPI, I'll make the payment. Doesn't work like that. And the water, and just think someday of earth. And by the way, they are all personalities. As you advance in your spiritual life, you will realize it, that they are not dead matter. They are life forms. So how the yajna cycle works, we understood that Krishna resides there. But how does it work? So Supreme Person, when he exhaled, yes, so he inhales and he exhales because, this is the take home, because God is a person. I repeat, God is a person. It takes lifetimes to just understand this one sentence. God is a person. His feature as light, all pervading, all encompassing, and omnipotent and omniscient, and those are his features. They are his qualities. But God is a person. He can hear, eat, touch, reciprocate. More you understand it, deeper you will be in your spiritual journey. We are not talking to something which is undefined. He is very, very personal to each one of us. Ridadeshe Arjun Tishtati. The supreme reality as an individual resides in the heart of every living entity, whether it is an ant or a jumbo elephant. It resides in each one of our hearts. I am right now talking, even then the Vishnu in my heart is hearing, and the Vishnu in your heart is also hearing. And this reality is taking place right as we are speaking. So from the Supreme Person's exhale came Ved. Ved means books of knowledge. What knowledge? Spiritual knowledge. And from those books came prescribed duties. So a student should study, a businessman should do business, a cricketer should play cricket. These are prescribed duty of these people. A painter should not attempt cricket and vice versa. And here I'm not talking about freedom of choice, I'm talking about interest that one may have. Then you have to pursue your hobby, pursue your interest. So that's your prescribed duty. From prescribed duty, when you perform it and you give the due credit to everyone who it belongs to, where it belongs, then from prescribed duty comes yajna. Now we were taught in our schools that rains happen because ocean receives sunlight and then evaporation happens and then clouds are formed and then they go and then pouring takes place. But Krishna is saying something different. He says annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad annasambhava. All living entities, everyone, not just humans, are dependent for their survival on grains. And grain is possible because of rain. And rain comes out of yajna. And yajna happens when people perform their prescribed duty. And that prescribed duty comes from Ved. That Ved comes from the exhale of Supreme Person. And therefore, in the acts of sacrifice, that Supreme Person is perpetually residing. Because yajna means sacrifice. Yajna just doesn't mean sharing. Yajna means I performed, I earned, all yours. That's yajna. It doesn't belong to me. That's why in the 3.30, when almost like a culmination of the whole philosophy comes, Krishna finally reveals and quickly wraps up. He says, Mai Sarvani. Therefore, I am the Supreme Person, so Mai, unto me. Mai Sarvani Karmani, all your activities. Sannyasan Adhyatma Chetasa, you offer all your activities to me and then renounce, which means you continue doing it but stay renounced. Mai Sarvani Karmani Sannyasan Adhyatma Chetasa. Then how do Nir Ashir Nirmamo Bhutva? Don't cling on to it. Nirmamo. Oh, I did it. It's mine. That's nirmamo. And then you have to be nirmamo means don't be possessive about it. Nir Ashir, it may not come the way you want. Don't hanker after it. Nir Ashir Nirmamo Bhutva. Yuddhasva, do your duty. Vigata Jvara, without lethargy. We are very fortunate to be discussing this philosophy. Yuddhasva Vigata Jvara. Continuously one should keep doing. Like the sun, it just shines all along. Keeps moving and keeps shining and keeps giving light and does not differentiate. Who is receiving it? Somebody is putting curtains, sun doesn't mind it. Somebody allows sunlight, sun doesn't mind it. Then you put solar panels, create electricity, it doesn't complain. It just does perpetually, continuously, because sun is a karma yogi. It is doing it for the pleasure of its boss. His boss's name is Krishna. When you become an instrument and do things for the pleasure of Krishna, God, call whatever name you have, then you become a cashier in the bank. Money is not yours, but through you, lakhs and crores of rupees go out and come in. Similarly, at your workplace, in your family, in your friend circle, you will start emitting an energy which would give soothing experience to people around you. They would want to be in your company because you live for others. How do you live for others? Not by helping everyone, but just by satisfying Krishna. How does one satisfy Krishna? By giving everything that you have earned for his pleasure. And the word earned doesn't restrict to the paycheck. You earn a family also. You earn friends also. You earn various hobbies and achievements also. And they all can be utilized in the service of God. Then the yajna is being performed. So then Krishna tells Arjun that in the beginning, when the creation was taking place, Arjun, at that time the Supreme Person told that, oh, human beings, you go, you have a desire to enjoy, but these demigods will supply you various necessities of life through which you will be able to enjoy. So therefore, you offer them back something. When you will offer them back, then they will be happy. When they will be happy, they will supply you these necessities. So wherever yajna is being performed, prescribed duty is taking place, there would be neither drought nor floods. There will be prosperity. This is the spiritual formula to gain prosperity. This is how everything will become opulent. But people don't know it. They think by hoarding, you become opulent. No. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Everyone has to become opulent and happy. So the idea is global, universal, and if you know a term higher than that. So this is the trick, that you do your thing, you get result out of it, you offer the result to Supreme Person, and you walk light. You walk light. Don't understand it in a narrow manner, thinking that it's only about salary or the Lakshmi or money that you have. If you are a good painter, paint God's features, God's forms, and so on and so forth. If you are a good marketeer, propagate that all the souls need to perform yajna. Let this message go out. Whatever talent you have can be dovetailed in the service of God. And that's called yajna. So yajna doesn't mean Havan Kund alone. That's a very small feature of it. Yajna means doing your prescribed duty for the satisfaction of Supreme. Now Arjun got confused further. He got clarity that he should fight. But then he said, how is it that it is going to purify me? Then Krishna told Arjun that, see, you are already pure because you are my devotee. But people who are in mode of ignorance, recall those staircases we talked about. Mode of passion, mode of goodness, those people are engaged into various activities. And you, my dear Arjun, should not disturb them, but rather should become an ideal for them. Salman Khan, couple of decades back, started this whole trend of, you know, bare chested or whatever you want to call the thing, without shirt, and then biceps and triceps. And it did exist before, but he propagated it humongously. And then what happened? Every nook and corner of the city, there was a gym. Everybody was working on a V-shaped body. Then came Ritik Roshan and it became a V-shaped chiseled body, not a bulky body. Yat yat acharati shreshtha. Whatever things a great man performs, common people follow. In today's day and age, Salman Khan is an ideal for millions of people. So whatever he does, they follow. Similarly, Arjun is here advised that he should not give up fighting. Because if he gives up fighting, then people who should be fighting will not fight following in the footsteps of Arjun. And these people are not ready for sannyas. They are yet to give up the tendency of sense enjoyment. Arjun can say, I don't need this kingdom and I will not repent that I gave this up. I am ready only to serve you, Krishna, as per your desire. So I can perform Sankhya Yoga and be happy. Then Krishna says, no, for the sake of others, so that people can be situated in their respective duties. A father should feel dutiful to raise children responsibly. A spouse should feel dutiful to aid the other spouse in fulfillment of his or her duties. Because if Arjun does a thing, then others will follow. And they will all fall from their respective consciousness and they will go down in their consciousness. Whole game is to elevate your consciousness. A low level consciousness means complete energy is going towards enjoying one's own result. That's low level consciousness. I need to enjoy. This is my life. I need to enjoy. I will decide for my life. All of this is miserly attitude. And then happiness born out of making others happy, happiness born out of sharing, and then finally happiness born out of giving everything for the pleasure of the Supreme, performing the greatest of the yagyas. Krishna then goes on to say, Arjun, Maharaj Janak attained perfection only through this route, that he kept on doing his duties and performed yagya, which means he did his duty and offered the result to me. He did his duty and offered the result to me. Then you may ask, what do you mean by that? Should we just give our paychecks to them? No. When you wake up in your house and you figure out that there's too much dirt, and the first thought that comes in your mind is, this is a home where God resides. And in God's home, I reside. And God's home should not be dirty. So I will sweep it and clean it because God stays here. Now this act of sweeping is a yagya. Because you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it because the Lord is there. You order something or you cook something. And then you just prepare your plate and take it before the deity or the picture of the Lord. And you say, all that you give, because of that I'm able to prepare this. Now I offer it to you. You kindly honor it. Then whatever you eat will be sinless. In the overall entropy of the system, when you start giving everything back, then everything becomes yours. In a house, when the son doesn't demand a separate room, every room is his room. But as he grows up, envy grows up. And then he demands, no, I need my room. then his movements get restricted. Otherwise, everything is ours. Why should we die out of starvation? There's no need. The whole thing is ours, unlimited. We are suffering because of our attitude. And I'm talking about universal attitude. What is the universal attitude? Sense gratification, tendency to enjoy alone, not include others, keeping them at bay, or taking away from others forcefully or deceitfully, and living on other people's hard work. This is universal, you can say, disease. And this karma yoga means do it and offer it, do it and offer it. You can do anything and offer. You go to sleep and you say, I have to get up early and chant Krishna's names. There are 99 names in Islam of Allah, and those devotees chant those names. One of the foremost leaders of our society, His Holiness Radhanath Swami, once asked Mother Teresa, he said, my dear mother, where do you get so much power from? And Mother Teresa just smiled and took her beads out from the bead bag. And she said, from here, from the holy names. And there are names given in each religion. We have to take it. Sikhism also, Ek Onkar. So we know that, okay, this is what they chant. Then Muslims, then Christians, and everyone else. So when you go to sleep with this consciousness that I have to get up and chant, then your sleep is also a yajna. Everything can become a yajna. And then what happens? You open, suppose you start a business, and then you say, Krishna, you are my boss in this company. This is your company, I am running it. All right. Now you got 3 times profit in the second year, say for example. Then what did you do? You bought a house for yourself, a bigger one, an expensive car, and all the modern facilities. Now it was actually Krishna's profit. And you didn't realize when did it become yours. So you enjoy saying, oh, Krishna is the owner, Krishna is the owner. Then 4th year, your factory catches fire and you will be disturbed because now you are attached to the business. Had you just said, this money doesn't belong to me, I will either reinvest or distribute. I'm fine with keeping the body and the soul together comfortably. I don't need more than that. And I don't worry about my future. Because when I'm giving everything to you, you will automatically take care of me. Because you promise in Bhagavad Gita that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. Give up all varieties of religion and surrender unto me. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. I will take all of your sinful reactions. Moksha Shyami, I will deliver you. Ma Shucha, don't doubt, I will do it. You start. So we need to start. So for the sake of teaching others, like Maharaj Janak did, Krishna says, Arjun, you should also do. Otherwise, you will be disturbing people's mindsets. Because many warriors and Kshatriya community people who think you as their ideal, they will fall down from their duties. Now look back, all the rituals which were at one point in time being performed, and we don't perform them anymore because somewhere some leader who we thought is all correct, he stopped doing those things, and so did we. We think America is the Shrestha. Shrestha means superior. So the way they pass stool is the best way to do it. And we followed, and in every house there is a Western commode. Then now when some movements popped up pertaining to sattvic, lifestyle, then oh, my intestines need to press for a proper, clearing. So now you're going back to the old system. I'm not into all of this. I'm just trying to say, yat acharati shrestha. If you think English culture is shrestha, then you will follow it. And in the name of that, if they consume burger, you will also consume it. Then thankfully a counterculture will pop up, which would be calorie conscious. And then you will divert from there to salad. But we all follow. We don't want to admit whatever Krishna says is universal in its application. We all follow. Last thing, then from 36th verse onwards, Arjun asks a question. He says, my Lord, I sometimes don't want to do a thing, but I feel a force from inside as if somebody is pushing it. Somebody wants me to do it. Then Krishna says, yes, very true. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhava. Arjun, this is the lust and the subsequent wrath, which is born out of mode of passion. Lust, in its narrowest sense, is sex life. But that's not the only expression of lust. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a definition in which he highlights the difference between lust and love. Most of you must have asked or used this statement many times, whether it is lust or love. So Mahaprabhu gives a simple formula. He says, Swendriya priti kahaye kam, Krishnendriya priti dharaye premnam. When you do something to enjoy your senses, whether it is ear, oh, that old great music, I just need to listen to this. Or great food, I just need to taste it. Or what an aroma, or what a sight to behold, how beautiful she looks. This is all Swendriya priti, one's own sense enjoyment. Kahai kam, this is called lust. Krishnendriya priti, satisfying the senses of Krishna or the Supreme Person. Dharai premanam, that is called love. I would prepare fantastic kheer at my home because Krishna likes it. That's prem, that's love. Closest to it is the love that a mom or a mother has for the child. Closest to it. You can at least understand. And she would prepare it with love and then make the child eat. She's not doing it for herself, therefore it is prema. So then once Arjun posed this question and Krishna says it is because you have lust inside. Then he further declares that Arjun, and this is the anti-Osho philosophy that Krishna gives. He says if you put butter in the fire and think that this is the last time I'm putting butter in the fire and the fire would rouse, it will not rouse, it will flare up further. So those of us who always think, kalse, you used to watch that advertisement? I don't know, some Safola oil or something, where the wife pushes her, a husband to go for morning walk. And he says, from tomorrow. So many times we have told for our sense enjoyment, today is the last day and we drink more. But tomorrow never comes. Because the lust is perpetual. And then Krishna says, look at this beautiful hierarchy, last one for today. He says, dull matter is inferior to senses. On its own, a hot pizza is useless if you don't have tongue and a nose to inhale the aroma. It's useless. So dull matter is pizza. Superior to that is the senses. Superior to the senses is the mind, Arjun. Because mind stores the memory of good taste and it enhances our desires, intensifies them. Then Krishna says, better than or superior to mind is intelligence, Arjuna, because it discriminates. Oh, too much of this would be harmful for me. So though I'm liking it, but I will not have it. That's intelligence. Discriminating authority. Superior to that intelligence is that, Krishna says, which means soul. And then he gives the last instruction in 43rd verse, where he says, Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmana atmana jahir shatru mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Which means that considering or knowing yourself to be that soul, evam buddhe, knowing like this, param buddhva, that I am that sub-supreme soul, which is superior to all of this, dull matter, senses, mind, intelligence, I am superior to all of them. Evam buddhe, considering like this, param buddhva, knowing that you are the main person. Samstabhya atmana, and then you situate, Arjun, yourself in yourself, where you will see lakhs and lakhs of people getting killed, but you will not be wavered, where you will see so much affection for you and you will still not become dependent on it, because samstabhya atmana atmana. Now you are situated in the glory of the self. Jahi shatru mahabaho, you are powerful, Arjun. Now you win over this mighty enemy called lust, kama rupam durasadam, which is difficult to conquer. So how do you win over lust? By identifying that, like, let's take example of, anything. Say, for example, kheer. Now, what is it? It's a combination of rice, milk, and sugar, and a few other things put together. And what do you do then? Then you place it on this matter. So matter on matter. And they are just hot, sweet. So this sensation which is coming from the senses. But both of them are temporary and they both are matter. So you are just agitating two forms of matter together. And you are saying, I'm happy. When you know that, no, I'm not related with this, I'm superior to all of them, then you reside and live for the sake of keeping body and soul together, so that you can work on self-realization. So my dear seekers, Karma Yoga gets fulfilled when you know what should be done, you do it whether you like it or you don't like it, and after doing it, you offer it to the Supreme Truth, which means you perform yajna. And when you do that, you get transported into a consciousness which is called divine consciousness. That is divinity, and the key to this divinity is yajna. So keep doing everything for the Supreme Person. You will be light, you will be blissful, and you will feel fulfilled. So I'm very happy that it's my good fortune to have shared this fantastic form of knowledge with all of you. I will take two questions because I had started at 10:10. So if you allow, I would like to be here till 11:10. The forum is open to questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session, Prabhuji. We have one question from Vishal Prabhuji. Prabhuji, could you please help me understand what does it really mean, person, when you say Krishna is a person? Aren't all persons made up of matter and subject to the cycle of life and death?
When I say God is a person, what I mean is that God has three specific features. They are unlimited and they never age. So God is one, Sat, then Chit, then Anand, and then He's the very source of all of this, which means God knows everything, Chitta potency. God is always happy, which means Ananda potency, and God is eternal, which means Sat potency. What I mean to say is, when I say God is a person, it means He's not just some light, or He's not just some total of all elements that we see. So Vishal Prabhu, understand it with this example and it will be very clear to you. When I say sun rays, then sun rays are everywhere. This light is everywhere. So a person who says, I know sun, is not wrong. because he has experienced this light, but he's partially correct and substantially incorrect. Then he comes to a platform where he says, okay, there is a sun globe, there is a disk, hydrogen, helium, fusion, this, that. Now that's a higher understanding, that they know the sun is located at certain place from where it is emitting this all pervading light. Then he reads Bhagavad Gita, comes to chapter 4, and then he says, oh, Krishna is saying that way back I gave this knowledge to the king of sun planet. Now, what does that mean? It means that there is a person living there. Then Krishna says his name is Vivasvana. So he's a living entity, he's a person, and he's a king. So if he is a king, means you need to have subjects for a king to exist. So there must be other people who would be his praja or his subjects. And they are all made up of fire, like we are all made up of earth. So when I say sun is a person, then somebody says, no, sun is a light. That's all. More knowledgeable say, no, it's hydrogen, helium, fusion, out there. That's the position. This is how he moves. That's a higher understanding. But the biggest understanding is, yes, it emits light. Yes, it has fusion. But it is a person. It is personal. Not like we all are person, but relate. So that's what I mean when I use the word person. God is a person means you can reciprocate with him. You don't reciprocate with sunlight. You don't reciprocate with hydrogen or helium. There's no method to do it. But you can reciprocate with the king, because the king is a person. So sun is a person. Now we know through Bhagavad Gita. By the same logic, God is a person. He's not just all-pervading, omniscient, omnipotent. Those are his features. So impersonal is one level of understanding. I am just saying go beyond it and engage in loving devotional service to that person whose light it is. They're all, flower is this small, that's all. But the fragrance of flower is far wide. But then you don't say that fragrance is bigger than flower. Flower is the source of fragrance. Light is very big, but Krishna is the source of light. He confirms, you will get to know in chapter 13. When he says, to that Brahman, I hold it like a mother holds a child in the womb. Krishna holds this unlimited features thing in himself. But he is the supreme truth and he's a person. He reciprocates. You can talk with him, live with him, serve him, and exchange rasas, mellows with him. That's what I mean when I use the word God is a person. Any other question? Okay. Thank you so much. Next week. Sorry, please.
I said no other question, Prabhuji.
So next week would be more exciting because people often talk about the word divine. We would be knowing about divine knowledge. What it means. We so far know physical knowledge. We should now know divine knowledge. So we would be covering that. I look forward to have all of you where this aspect of divinity and the features of divinity would be discussed. If you have any comment, you can put it here in the chat box. Anything that you want me to improve upon or you want to highlight something, you feel free. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to all of you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.